I don't know if everybody has a favorite author, but I do. His name is Ezra Jack Keats. Now, if you don't know who he is, or you have a vague idea of who he is, that's perfectly fine. That's because today, we're just talking about my favorite author, Jacob Ezra Katz, who will later change his name to Ezra Jack Keats, was the third child to immigrant Polish parents Benjamin Katz and Augusta Begany, who escaped Europe during a time where it was aggressively anti-Semitic. He and his siblings, William and May Katz, will grow up in the East New York section of Brooklyn. Here, his father worked as a waiter, and his mother, a stay-at-home wife. Keats' mother and his siblings were all pretty artistic. Keats himself would use any wood, paper, or cloth he can get his hands onto, and use them to make pictures. Now, his father, on the other hand, wasn't. He disapproved of Keats' dream to be an artist. He believed that artists lived terrible and impoverished lives. But even with him thinking that, he would still bring back home tools to paint, claiming, and I quote, "If you don't think artists starve, well, let me tell you, one man came in and swabbed me a tube of paint for a bowl of soup." Now, with Keats not getting a lot of encouragement at home, he'll find it elsewhere. That elsewhere will be school. His teachers and the school's librarian will give him the encouragement to pursue art. And with that encouragement, his first accomplishment in the world of art will unfold itself. On the day of graduating from junior high school 149, Keats was awarded a medal for a drawing he had made. Although he thought it was an unimpressive looking medal, it will be something he'll hold on to for the rest of his life. Now, his second accomplishment will happen in high school. He won a national contest organized by scholars, earning recognition for an oil painting that captured the image of hobos huddled around a fire for warmth. The joy of this accomplishment will be overshadowed due to a tragic event. You see, the day prior, his father had suffered from a heart attack and died in the middle of the street. Keats was called upon to identify the body, and in this moment, something that you only see in the movie will happen. His friend, poet Lee Bennett Hopkins, was with him at the time, and he would describe the event as this: "I found myself staring deep into my father's secret feelings. There in his wallet were worn and tattered newspaper clippings of notices of the awards I had won. My silent admirer and supplier, he'd been torn between his dread of me living a life of hardship and his real pride in my work. This discovery would unveil the depth of his father's unspoken admiration and concern, adding a bittersweet note to Keats' accomplishment." After high school, Keats was offered 3 scholarships for art school. He declined all of them. He instead went straight to work to provide for his family. So for the remainder of the Great Depression, Keats worked multiple different jobs, but also attending art classes in between. The 2 most notable jobs he worked for was one as an illustrator for Fawcett Publications. He illustrated the backgrounds for the Captain Marvel comics. The second job as a mural painter for the New Deals program. So as I was researching for this video and everything, I was trying to find a picture of the mural he had painted, which I didn't find, but I was on the wiki page for the New Deals program. And there's a section called Notable Artists, and I was reading out the names, and I didn't know it was Keats. The thing is that before he became a children's illustrator and book writer, he was an artist, and so for him not to be on the list is kind of messed up. Anyways, World War II happens, and Keats ends up getting drafted. He spent most of his time in the military designing camouflage for the US Air Force. During his time in the military, Keats was experiencing severe anti-Semitism, and even after, he still was. So, in 1947, Jacob Ezra Katz became Ezra Jack Keats. I hate the fact that he had to go through this just because of his religion or his race. It shouldn't be fair to anybody who has to change their name because of who they are and what race or gender or whatever. You know what I mean? So I do enjoy the fact that he kept the Ezra part in his name though. So skipping ahead a little, he goes to Paris, thanks to his brother's help, and he comes back to the States and he actually displays art in Fifth Avenue stores, and that's kind of how he gets involved in children's literature. So in 1954, editor Elizabeth Riley ends up seeing one of the book covers that Keats had illustrated. She was so drawn in by it, she would invite him to Crowell Publishing to illustrate some books for some of the authors there. Now, 6 years later, Keats will co-publish a book with author Pat Shear, the book being called My Lost Dog. It was a book about a boy named Juanito who just came to New York from Puerto Rico, and he ends up losing his dog. So he would travel around New York and ask people from different races and cultures if they've seen him. It's actually a pretty good book, and you should check it out if you want to. The link will be in the description below. Now, a little bit after publishing this book, he was invited by editor Anna Duff from Viking Press. So she asked him to come over to illustrate and write his own book. That book will become The Snowy Day. and it was awarded a Caldecott Medal in 1963. Fun fact, the inspiration for the character Peter came from this little guy right here. He was from a 1940 issue of Life magazine. He's had a cutout clipping of him. He was kind of his inspiration whenever he illustrated books for others. Who would have known that he would become Keats' inspiration for his own? Now back to 1963. Keats is giving his acceptance speech, and he says this about writing a book. I was like a child playing. I was in a world with no rules. The reason why he said this is because the art style he used for the book was the first time he ever attempted using this sort of style. It's actually the thing that caught my eyes again. Alright, so we're nearing the end of the video, and I decided to dedicate this part to Keats' accomplishments and the honors and the dedications that were given to him. And so to start things off, we'll begin with books. And so this section is basically books that he written or he had illustrated for. So, first on this list is The Snowy Day, which we all know was awarded a Caldecott Medal. It was also the book In the Spring Garden, which he had illustrated, which was awarded Library of Congress Book of the Year. The book Goggles, which was awarded the Caldecott Medal Honor Book. The book High Cat, which was awarded Boston Globe Corner Book Award for illustration. The books Apartment 3 and The King's Fountain, which was awarded School Libraries Journal's Best Books. The book The Trip, which was awarded Children's Choice Award, International Reading Association, and Children's Book Council. And then under the section, Child Study Association of America's Children's Books of the Year. Under this, we have The Little Drummer Boy, A Letter to Amy, Goggles, High Cat, Two Tickets to Freedom, The King's Fountain, Apartment 3, Pet Show Over the Meadow, Dreams, Louis, Jenny's Hat, and The Regards to the Man in the Moon. And that'll be all for the book honors. Now let's move on to his personal honors, like him being the first artist invited to design the greeting cards for UNICEF. He was also a member of the White House Forum on Children's Development and Mass Media. He's also a 4-time guest on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He's also the first children's book author to be invited to donate his papers to Harvard University. And he was inducted to the New York State Writers Hall of Fame, presented by the Empire State Center for the book in the Empire State Book Festival. Now, let's move on to his dedications. Things like sites you can go to that are dedicated in his name. For example, there's a skating rink in Kyosei, Japan, which is named after him. Not named after him, but named after his book, Skates. He also has a stepping stone on the Celebrity Walk in Brooklyn Botanical Garden. He has a school named after him in Brooklyn as well, called Ezra Jack Keats International School, PS 253, which is attended by children from over 40 countries all around the world. English, I think. There's a bronze statue of Peter and Willie, a storytelling site in the Imagination Playground of Prospect Park. Then there's a District 28 Pre-K Center at Forsyth in Queens, New York, renamed Ezra Jack Keats Pre-K Center. Alright, so this is the last segment of the video. So to start it off, we'll begin with the ending to Keats' story. Now, in 1983, Keats will sadly pass away, suffering from a heart attack. For his entire career as a children's book author and illustrator, he would write and illustrate over 85 different books. He would also travel around the country, going from classroom to classroom, encouraging children to keep on reading. And in 2011, he became my favorite author. And like I said earlier in the video, what drew me into his books was the art. But what kept me were the stories. He didn't write these fun, entertaining, teach you a lesson at the end of the book kind of books. He wrote like these engaging, relatable stories. Like Peter's Chair, for example. Peter's little sister had just been born. So his parents were turning a lot of his old stuff into her new stuff. And Peter just like, why is all my stuff becoming her stuff? Why am I giving up my old stuff? And so he decides to run away, taking his old chair. Like he doesn't go far, he goes like right in front of the house. So he tries to take a seat in his old chair, and he doesn't fit. So his mother calls him in, he decides like to sneak in and everything. But at the end of the book, he decided to offer his help to his dad, saying that he would like to help him paint his old chair into his sister's new chair. It's like if you ever have like younger siblings, giving up your stuff is something like that just happens, you know? It just ends up happening. And so it's like, this used to be mine, why you have it now? Kind of thing, you know what I mean? It's a lot more relatable when you're a kid. And that's what really kept me as a kid. It was just, the stories were just so much more engaging, so much more relatable. That's what made him my favorite author. The art, the stories, it just made him my favorite author, you know? So to end this video, I want to thank Keats for becoming a children's book writer, for making the character Peter, for becoming my favorite author. And I hope he's resting in peace. Alright, if you made it this far, honestly, thank you for watching. Like, I know it must have been rough. Like, the audio isn't the greatest, the visual isn't the greatest. Trust me, I know. Like I said earlier in the disclaimer, there weren't a lot of source materials. So that's why there's a lot more memes and gifs in the beginning. Like, during the second half of me, like, editing and everything, I was like, what if I cut a lot of that out and just leave, like, a blank screen a lot more and just see, like, a black screen a lot more and just see how it works? If you think it worked a lot better, tell me in, like, the comments and everything. It'll honestly help. I can use a lot, as much criticism as I can get to make the videos a lot better. There should be 2 more videos up with this one as well. They're a lot more different from this one. They are a lot more of me giving my opinion and thoughts on the topic at hand, rather than just like me talking about history. You know what I mean? This is probably one of the very few rare occasions that me using a lot of memes and gifs is gonna be implemented. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of source material for this. Like, for a lot of people, there was just nothing there. Like, for the editors, Anna Duff and Elizabeth Riley, there was nothing on them. There's like 1 article in Elizabeth Riley and then like a book that Anna Duff had made. Or some of the places where I couldn't find him either, like the skating rink in Kyoto, Japan, nowhere to be found. Like, he went there, like he went to the place like on his opening. You told me he didn't take a single picture there? I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything on it, bro. But yeah. Thank you for watching and have a great day.